Today we have WildTurtle, an OG League player, much like myself. We have Jatt, the OGest League player in North America, personally responsible for ruining 2021 Spring Split by buffing Udyr while he was on the design team.
I buffed him on 2019 and just laid in wait.
Yep.
Until 2021
you planted this bomb.
Yeah.
We've got Moe Yassuo, the best Yassuo player in the world, and of course,
maybe like 3 years ago, but I'll take it.
Now still in Emily Rand, our local host. So, I'm sure you're wondering why I asked you all here today.
I'm a pretty boy, I'm stunning. Super speed Sonic, I'm running. Super speed Sonic, I'm running. Call me Big Papa, I'm Sonic. I'm a bad boy that make lovin'. I'm a bad boy that make lovin'.
We were on the same team prior to me getting on TSM. That was kind of fun. I remember actually Meteos' like his trial for his team was like so odd. He played Malzahar mid for us. Was it Malzahar mid?
Yeah. Well, so the way it went was, so me and Turtle were friends from solo queue, and I was on this team called Team Normal Stars, which was like just me and my friends who played high elo normal games. We got into some like online tournaments. We won like a Go for LOL, which was like the local tournament of the time.
Oh, go for LOL.
Go for LOL.
Yeah.
I won Go for LOL 2 and 3.
Weird flex.
Wow.
No one remembers unless you won the first one, Jatt.
Okay.
Did they give you anything for it? You can like hang
I
it
got,
up?
well, it was like $20, I think, or was it 100? It was,
Ooh,
it was very low
It
amount.
was like 20
They buffed it
bucks
at
per
one
person.
point. I think it started at like $20 per person, and
Yeah.
then at one
Wow.
point they were like, "Big announcement! It's now going to be $40 per person."
Whoa.
Dude, but
Yeah,
did you actually play for the money, or did you play for the Rise skin? Like, I think it was Human
Oh,
Rise.
yeah, Triumphant Rise.
Triumphant Rise.
Victorious.
Whichever one it was.
You were
I
mostly
wanted
playing for the
that
Rise
so
skin,
bad.
Yeah. No, that was 100% the reason to play those tournaments. We had played against Cloud9. I remember when I first played against you guys, I was playing Rammus every game, and I just kept camping high mid to the point where he got so tilted he took
Cloud9
cleanse.
wouldn't have been called Cloud9 then.
No, they were. They were, actually.
What were we? I think we were Cloud9 for a small point, like maybe like a month or two.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so they were Cloud9 for the first LCS qualifier, and that was the one where they were like a massive favorite to get in,
we got.
and they giga choked. Hard
Good job.
choke, got base raced, all the good stuff.
Yeah, we got.
Oh,
we
yeah,
choked.
Marn base raced. I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
We should have won, but like. They just had they were too smart at the time, man. They just had a Nivea defend while 4 people was pushing. We didn't send anybody back. It was like, oh crap.
Yeah, that looked real sad for you guys, but I wasn't part of it. And then anyway, I got to knowing the team because like we were friends from solo queue.
Yeah.
I get called in. I was like, this was one of the biggest teams it was the biggest team that I played with at the time. I was like, trying really hard because I was like, oh, dude, this is the real deal. And then when we get into the champ select, it's so troll. I was like blown away because the first thing I hear is Lemon being like, "Yeah, I'm only playing this tournament if I get to play support Nasus." Like I'm only playing support Nasus.
That was actually so fun though. Support Nasus was OP as hell.
It was insane. I was like, Wither did attack speed slow. E was like flat armor reduction. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I think we had another sub top laner for that one. And he's first pick, and he's just like, all right, guys, what am I first picking? And he's just like, clicking around different champs. No one tells him till the last second where he's hovering Master E. And then Hai's like, just lock in Master E. By the way, I'm jungling. Because I was brought into sub for jungle, so I was like, what is this? We're against We're actually against Curse Academy, by the way, who has a lot of players you probably recognize nowadays. Like it was Pobelter mid, I Will Dominate was jungling. I think it was Altec.
That would have been like 13-year-old Pobelter.
Yeah, he was a baby.
Yeah.
He needed his parents' permission to compete in that one. So yeah, Hai's going jungle, and like, do you play anything mid? I was like, I guess I can play Malzahar. Like, I don't know. This was so long ago. This was OP Kassadin, by the way. So I was laning against Pobelters, OP is hell Kassadin, in like season 3, and I solo killed him level 5, and then that was like my ticket in. I impressed everyone by flash igniting on him level 5, killing him. And we ended up winning that. And the next game we played a little bit more normally. And I don't know, the vibe on that team was just crazy. It was like
we were just like smurfing.
It was serious and really troll all at the same time. So I don't know. I feel like that's sort of like what really got me into the game.
So
And
you
that's
guys,
when we had
That
Turtle.
patch was way too fun though. Like it was like we played Graves and Nasus bottom, but like your E would like make their armor go away on Nasus.
Yeah.
So my Q would do so much damage as the Graves.
Yeah, and that was like the old Graves.
That was the old
right?
Graves.
That was the old like actual AD carry Graves.
So like
Yeah.
if you ever landed like a buckshot, it was just like one shot in them. It was so fun, dude.
Turtle, I think you had one of the most explosive debuts of all time
I guess
in the LCS.
Well,
No, LCS
an
specifically.
LCS. Okay, yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I got a pentakill on Caitlyn.
Yeah, that was pretty
That was it?
sweet.
yeah.
That was kind of lit. Yeah.
Like you undersold it. I remember the pentakill. Like I got me hype.
Yeah,
So.
that was crazy. I mean,
Pentakill.
you,
Yeah, it's
you
kinda
ditched
crazy.
me.
Yeah, I kind of ditched you.
How did that happen? Like that was one of the biggest moments in season 3 was Chaos getting kicked in like the span
Yeah.
of a week,
Yeah.
and then just like WildTurtle flies in. Did you
I'm
know
trying
the
to
team
remember.
beforehand? Did they literally just know this guy from solo queue? who
I
was-
remember Reggie just messaged me on the client. He's like, "Hey, can you come to like LCS like tomorrow or some shit?" And I was like, "What?"
Really professional.
Yeah. He just messaged me on the client, but
Yeah.
he was just on my friends list, on my league friends list.
I mean, that was the way you communicated back then.
Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah.
how the way you were communicating. And then I went over to LA, played, and got the pentakill on Caitlyn.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that weekend, they had like some sponsor thing to do in like PAX East.
Yeah.
So I went with them at PAX East on that same like weekend. And then it was just like really awkward. I remember like fans like, "Who is this guy?" It's like, where's Chaos? And I was just like, "Oh shit, this is really awkward."
Jatt, what was your debut like as a pro player?
I mean, do you want to talk about how I started playing League or like how I snuck my way into Dignitas? It's like
Dignitas,
just
your
snoozed
pro
my way into
debut.
the team. Yeah. So I didn't like solo queue that much, but like I could do it. I think I ended season 1 like rank 40 or something. But I remember watching season 1 Worlds, the qualifier, and it was TSM, Epic Gamer,
Epic Gamer,
and
yeah.
COG that qualified. This other team called Rock Solid that finished 4th. That was like really close, right? And when I looked at the ladder, I saw like Scar and Voyboy were both top 5, and they were top laner and mid laner, and I was a jungler. And I'm like, okay, if I actually want to play this game well, like I could probably make my way onto this team. Because no one was really that organized or serious. They basically didn't even have positions. Like some games, like someone to play jungle, some games, someone to play mid lane.
Missed that.
But anyway, I just messaged them and said like, hey, if you ever need a sub, hit me up. And then the first game that I subbed for, scrims were really rare, but it was like a scrim against TSM. And I was jungling, and I remember saying something like, oh yeah, by the way, these guys always do some cheese level 1, so let's just go 5-stack in a bush. And they're like, oh wow, sure, that's a good idea. And we got like 2 kills. And they were like, whoa, we're actually thinking about what's happening before the game. And I was like, back then, and this is like really early league, so it's gonna sound really stupid now, but this was actually like cutting edge shit back in the day. Like, do you remember leashing jungle camps?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, but like no junglers started on wolves. Almost everyone was starting on blue and red because they were like the important things. And I'm like, okay, no one's going to lane. So literally just bring everyone to the wolves, kill them with me, then come to the blue, kill that with me, and then I'm gonna be way ahead of the other jungler guys.
The
And, like,
original gold
Wow.
funnel.
This
Next level
strat
strats.
made me so good. Like, I was so far ahead of other junglers in experience, like every game. Because I did well in those scrims, I joined Rock Solid, and then the first tournament went to IPL 3. It was in Atlantic City, and Voyboy was too young to play in Atlantic City based on like state law.
Really?
So we brought in a sub, and we moved Scar top lane, and we still won the tournament, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And that was like our first tournament as Dignitas.
Wow.
I'm learning so many new
Really?
things. I didn't know
I
Jatt
know.
invented the super leash in season 1. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I actually didn't know about that either.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably gonna be some guy who's like, actually, Jatt didn't do this, but like that's how I remember it.
Turns out, Jatt made up the whole thing never happened.
Ice on my neck. Count up a check. Ice on my neck.
How's quarantine been, guys?
Oh, you know. Sweet.
Great, perfect.
Awesome, yeah.
It's been a hard adjustment being a pro player, having to stay inside and play video games all day. It's been a really hard lifestyle change for me.
I think even being in LCS, it's a little bit different because a lot of the teams are using their facilities.
Yeah.
Right? Like COG uses their facility and had
Well,
used it. Like, how
last
did it
year,
work?
if we're talking about quarantine last year,
Yeah,
I was
how
on
did it work?
FlyQuest.
Yeah, that was the one where you had to, like in the middle of the final, you had to drive
Yeah,
across.
okay. I always wanted to ask you about that. What
That was so
that?
weird. I mean, it was the 2020 finals of summer, and I think it was like game 2. I mean, it was a summer 2020. It was like when COVID was happening. We were all playing from home. I was playing at my apartment, and then my power went out. It was like really hot, so like the entire strip went out of power. It was
And
like
so you
literally
had
a
to-
heat wave.
So you had to
I
just
was like-
move across the
I was like
city?
literally in the middle of the game. I was about to get dove. I remember too. I was about to get dove, and then my power went out. And then-
Oh,
and
man.
then-
I
and then
hate it
was
when I'm
like,
about to get
oh.
dove and my power goes out.
Genius.
Oh, we better chrono break this game.
My power literally went out, and I was like, ooh.
Did your team notice right away, or did
Yeah.
you just like
I
get
called
dove
him. I'm like,
killed
I
2
literally
minutes
called
later?
the manager like right away. I'm like, yo. I called Nick right away, and I was like, yo, I need to go to the teaming house. I have no power in my house, and then I had to fly. I had to go to the FlyQuest house and just play from there. So I was kind of chill, but it was like a half an hour drive, and I remember just like actually I remember because I had to bring my entire PC. I literally brought the
Wait,
entire
you
PC.
had to load up your
no.
PC?
We didn't have another PC at
Wait,
the
who
FlyQuest
drove?
house.
Do you have a
Who
car?
drove you?
It was
it
Jeff.
was also COVID. So who drove? Sorry.
I didn't have a car. My manager Jeff drove me. You know, the game was paused for like half an hour.
Wait, so they just chrono break back to before the dive happened, then you just got dove anyway and died? Or
I
like,
have no idea what happened because I had no power.
No, but when
I think
when
they
you got
instant
back
paused.
to get power, did they just chrono break to pre-dive, and did you just get re-dove, or?
I think so, yeah. I think so, yeah.
It must be a bummer,
got
just
to
like drive
relive it.
across town, log back in, like, yeah, I'm ready for the finals, and you just
Wait, I was actually
instantly
already
die.
dead, actually. I think they started the game from when I was already dead.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I was
They
dead.
just assumed
So
that
I
you were
literally
just gonna
respawned
die.
and then I waited.
They're like, all right, you're dead.
You just said it was chill, but that doesn't sound chill.
Yeah,
I'd be,
it sounds
I'd
chill.
be
It's
like
so mad if I was in the
loading
middle
up
of
an
like a
entire
finals.
PC.
Dude, if I was in literally like a 5-game series, game 2 of the finals of the 2020 summer split playoffs, if we're going to Worlds, like I just want to win this, and then like out of nowhere I'm about to get dove, power out, heat
Yeah.
wave, it's hot as hell outside. I got to bring my PC into the car, call manager Jeff to drive me to the FlyQuest house. I'd be livid. Like,
I mean, I think I was pissed, but I was kind of chilling. I mean, I had a finals to
Mutually
win.
exclusive.
I had a finals to win. What did you win?
Yeah.
Like, I had a finals to
think
win.
it's
I couldn't be that
respect
pissed. Like, yeah,
that's
I
a
just
championship mentality.
Yeah. You're
Except
true,
he wasn't
you're
a champion.
true
He
gamer.
lost.
Except that wasn't a champion. Yeah.
You need to. I need to hear this from you, and I'm just curious. How? I want to hear the story behind like leaking the pole belter thing at the start of spring.
What's up? What's up?
That was just
That
too
was so
that
funny.
was too funny to me. Listening, you're on a talk show, right? And someone's talking about playing with pole belter again, and you're like, "Oh yeah, he was benched for attitude issues." But, like, no announcement had happened.
Really bad.
Like,
I didn't
Yeah.
know.
But like,
I thought we announced it. It seemed like a really big deal in the company.
how long had it happened from when you leaked it? Like, what was the lag time?
It was like 3 or 4 days, maybe more.
Okay, that's
All
a little.
right.
Maybe more. I thought something would
So
be
you've
said.
just been scrimming with RJ for like 4 days.
Like four
Wow,
or 5
okay.
days.
Okay.
It's like almost a week actually.
You
I
said
would say the
it so-
timeline's a week.
Yeah, I personally hate how every single time someone like gets benched or like replaced something, it's always like, oh, attitude issues. Attitude issues. Like I feel like it's such a scapegoat answer when a lot of times it's just not true. And I obviously can't speak on a lot of situations, especially this one since I'm not in the shoes. But obviously, when you're in the scene, you hear things from people about what actually happened and why a player gets replaced or benched. And a lot of times it just doesn't match up to the whole attitude issues thing.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the nod from
It's
both
like
sides.
looking directly at me.
we got a
It's
story
like,
here. So
I think in a perfect world,
Nailed
teams like players and management just don't read Reddit comments. Like, honestly, good or bad Reddit is just like poison for pro players. Like, it's either gonna make you think you're better than you are or worse than you are. Like, no one actually knows what's going on in your team. So if you put too much weight under what like random people are saying who don't really know anything about the game, then you're just setting yourself up to fail.
yeah, I agree, but also as someone who still reads Reddit, and because I used to have to pay attention to a lot of it, because Reddit is a place to get a pulse on community sentiment, especially as a broadcaster, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but from like 8 years ago, the ratio between people that click through to the content that's supposed to be discussed versus that just stay 100% on Reddit has gotten crazy.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
there
As,
can be
as
a-
someone who's been able to see the back end of esports websites since like 2013, 2014, It's nuts. Like the drop off in terms of how many people actually go to content is insane.
I think in interviews, the only thing people read is whatever
the
they
headlining
yeah
title.
whatever they
Yeah.
put in the headline.
No, 100%. And I think I'm guilty of that myself too. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I do
I'll
too.
read the headline sometimes and be like, damn, like that's crazy. And read the comments and people will be like, yeah, these guys didn't read the article. And I'll be like, all right, I gotta go read the article now. I don't want to be one of
As
these
a
guys.
writer, this kills me to hear.
Oh my God,
honestly.
this
Like,
happens
I just
on
want to die.
like, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
They'll be like, dude, did you hear Tactical's burned out? And then people will have like a 20-minute discussion about it on a podcast, and I'd be like, did they look at the interview?
Yeah.
And none of them did.
Wait, as someone who may have forgotten this interview that I definitely looked at,
Yeah.
what was the context there?
So I watched this, right? There was a tactical interview with Travis after like week 1 or 2 of the LCS.
Yeah.
And basically it was right after a game. And I think Travis was like, how are you? And I'm gonna mess up the quoting now, so it's like I watched the video 3 months ago. And he's like, yeah, I'm a little tired. And then Travis was like, do you think maybe you're burned out?
Oh, no.
And Travis was
Oh
like,
my.
yeah, maybe you could think it's like burnout or something. And then he's like, what is the team doing for it? It's like, oh yeah, they've been really good and like giving us like an extra day off and you know, making sure that we're able to stay fresh.
Literally nothing.
And then the headline is just like, Tactical talks about dealing with burnout. And for a month, it's comments about like, wow, Team Liquid really is burning out their players. They should like look into this issue. And I'm
my
like,
God.
Yeah, everyone's like, wow,
holy crap.
Tactical is so sad to see a promising rookie burning out like that. Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really good point. It's another one of the things that's weird, like the whole Reddit culture, like I definitely browse Reddit a lot. I enjoy
Yeah.
it. It's a good time. I think most people do. But when you're actually one of the people that, gets their stuff uploaded to Reddit, it's super weird because you have to like, I'm sure like you're a huge streamer, you gotta like watch what you say. It's not like actively, but anything you say can be taken out of context, and then that just represents you to a ton of people who might have not known anything else about you, and then that's just like who you are to them.
I think Reddit's had the biggest, or the League of Legends subreddit has had the biggest downfall of all time. And I think it's went through its stages. I think like back in the day, it was actually like a good place to like discuss things, learn new things. And then it went into like the meta in like season 7, season 8, where it's like, Shyvana's looking mighty sexy today, guys. Here's a Shyvana
God.
drawing, Shyvana with Garen, and it's like, dude,
I
like
still
what
did
is
not
it?
get that.
Yeah, that was like a
I-
meta
that
for
just-
like, yeah, that was bad. And now I think it's like, for the past few years, it's been like, streamer's bad, streamer streamer do this. Like none of the good things ever get posted on Reddit. Like any of the good things any streamers do, whether it's like
that's true.
positivity things they do, things for the community, charity thing, whatever, nothing goes on Reddit. I get on Reddit like maybe once a year, and it's for something like I do that's pretty bad, but none of the good things I ever do will ever appear there.
where do you go for community feedback?
It's a good one.
My echo chamber.
Yeah, I talked to my yes men. I'm like, yeah, this is good. They're like, good.
Yeah.
Whoa, used to be a hot boy, but I'm straight gorgeous now. Whoa, if you wanna see me, you gon' have to book an appointment now. Whoa, baby, call me Stone Cold, cause I'm so stunning. Whoa.
I've been trying to like grow my brand for the past 6 years. I haven't had like a super interesting start like some of you guys with like the pro players, like season 1, watch like, professional play. I just got lucky. I faced Faker in solo queue, faced I'm a Cutie Pie in solo queue, and luckily I just like skyrocketed my career early stages. And from here, I'm trying to like, I guess, diversify more. I'm like super known in the league world, but I obviously want to just be known in like the gaming verse more and more, which is like a part of where like 100 Thieves comes in, helps me do more content, whether it's league related, just variety related. What about you, Emily? How's it going from being from a journalist, analyst to broadcaster?
I never
Host.
know. So I'm really confused when people say that I have a personal brand because I don't know what that would be. I'm like really bad with social media because I don't have the mentality to deal with it, and I don't stream, and I am just myself. So if that's a personal brand that comes across.
Yeah, it always feels weird as a pro player for that because it's like, what is my personal brand? Like I'm here to play League. Like I want to just win. But it definitely, as I look toward doing other things outside of pro play, it becomes more and more relevant because you kind of have like who you are, and then you have who the outside perceives you as. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can be like really similar, but other times it can be like a lot of separation. And I think just finding that balance is hard because for me, I think they were like really, really intertwined, which kind of caused me some problems. So now I've been trying to like, separate them a little bit more, like have my personal, like Will, who I am to my friends, my family, whatnot. And then there's Meteos, who is for like, streaming, broadcasting, whatever. And I think that has felt pretty good.
How do you separate the two?
Well, I think like having a different name for the two, I guess you don't have, you're Emily Rand for both.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I could see that being a lot more difficult.
Yeah. Like, Emily, is it harder to like build your personal brand as a woman?
I love getting this question all the time because the most difficult thing for me is that it enters a lot of doubt into my mind that I already have about myself. So I'll be like, do these people want me here because they actually respect my analysis, or because they want to talk to me, or because they just need a girl somewhere in here? Because I just want to be a league analyst, right? Regardless of that. So I think that's where it's really difficult.
Actually, when I was on 100 Thieves, I briefly worked, like I was moved to Academy at the end of my time there, and I worked with Kelsey Moser, who
we're close
actually,
friends.
she's had a lot of similar sentiments, and it is sort of a weird thing because I'm sure for you and her, like you just want to, like you like the game, you care about the game part of it, and then from the outside, it's like, oh my God, a girl, like we've never seen those before. And so it's like, in a way, you don't want it to really like have anything to do with your career, but at the same time, you're also paving the way for others, which I think is great because, like, I think for sure gaming can be like a really, really unfair place for girls. Like, there's still tons of sexism that goes on in games all the time. It's terrible. It's definitely something that, like, I try to speak up about because I hate seeing it. So I think it's great when you can come out and just show to people, doesn't really matter if you're a guy or girl, you're just into the game, and sweet.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I think you've done a really good job this year on the desk, right? Like, coming from a perspective of being a writer in the past and also having like a way to get credibility. I think that's one of the hardest things to do as like someone who's new to a broadcast is like, okay, why should I care about what this person is saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one of the reasons like former pro players are so popular. But like you've been able to come in, whether it's from writing or whether it's from previous expertise on jungle pathing or whether it's from watching a lot of LPL in the past, like you have been good at leveraging your experience to make what you say like more important, which I think is something that a lot of people haven't been able to do. So just good job on that.
Yeah, great job, Emily. From me too. Whatever Jatt said, I share the same sentiment too. Like,
Copy paste.
I mean, it's difficult. Being on broadcast or doing anything is a lot different from writing. So I'm surprised at how well I've been received. Because previously I was told that I should never be on camera. And I don't think that was a woman thing. I think that was just you're awkward and you're a writer, not a broadcaster.
If anything, that eventually become your personality. Like, my personality was just being cringe and awkward for the first, like, hey, I'm still kind of there, I'm not gonna lie, but, we're working on it slowly, so.
I started really cringe, and I
now I'm just awkward.
I don't know where I was going.
I feel like we have to clear the air about MSI and international competition, and I interviewed you after TL's loss last year, and something you said there really stuck with me in terms of going 3-3 in a group that ended up being very competitive because it had, G2 and Stunnin in it, suddenly is the arbiter and end-all be-all of the fact that the region sucks.
Yeah, it's such a hard conversation to have because at the end of the day, all a large portion of the community hears is excuses. I just want people to give more support to NA teams. Because I legitimately do think it makes it harder, the environment that currently exists. There are more, to me, there are more people that like relish and enjoy finding ways to degrade NA than there are like ambassadors for the region. But it's also like really hard to be an ambassador for the region, and which is why I feel like all of them have gone away. Like you can look at the majority of the NA content creators, it's just so much easier to call NA bet. And results will say that we have been worse than the regions that are above us over time, but leveling out, they've been fourth best, right? And but anytime there is any type of like bump in the road, like losing a game to LJL, like, oh man, like I just exit for the day. Like I just stay away from social media because it's literally too much. It's crazy, and I just think that makes it hard. The support system for NA players or NA orgs, where I think these pressures actually do manage to exist. Like I want to see it stronger from the people that care about NA because I think it'll help.
I'm pretty motivated to just like do well. Like it kind of is like that way every split, but I think C9 doing like pretty decently for like NA standards. Like they beat some of the top teams, so I think that's like kind of like it still helps the region in general. Just be like, yeah, if we're like on point on those days, then we can still beat those teams. I think it was kind of the same for Worlds for us on FlyQuest too. Like we were like on point some of the games, and obviously we ended the tournament 3-3, but how we had like better like preparation, we might have been able to get out of groups. So I think that's always a nice factor about watching like NA play at Worlds. It's just like having the chance of like maybe our region can finally do well. Even though it's been really bad for a lot of years, it's still pretty. You still gotta hope, you know.
So excited about the summer split changes, like how playoffs is gonna work, and how spring split carries on over to summer
I
standards.
mean, obviously I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, dude. Oh man. If I'm being biased, I think they should reset it.
I think that speaking objectively.
As a guy speaking from 10th place, you know, like I don't like it at all.
You have to like win out in summer if you want to make Worlds. You have to just win everything.
I mean,
Well, you have to get top 8 for
there's
playoffs.
20, top 8 make
That's true.
playoffs.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's 27 games.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
27 games, 9
then the
weeks.
format's fun. We're chilling.
You got some.
You got this.
Ice on my neck, doesn't come in. I'm a pretty boy, I'm stunning.